All right, all right. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys like my rendition of my little Kanye West "Good Morning" song. That's one that I believe we tried to play on here once, but I don't know if you can play music on live so you don't have the license to. So I'm just gonna sing it myself, and they definitely can't sue me for that. Benjamin said, "Get it." They definitely can't sue me for that because there ain't no way I'm on tune enough for them to file for any type of trademark infringement or copyright infringement, right? So we're here though. We're bringing the energy. You guys know, you know the drill. You know the vibes. You know that you have to come in here ready to win. You have to come in here with a positive mindset. So that's exactly what I'm trying to get us started off in, right? Bringing that energy, bringing those good vibes, bringing that positivity, bringing that productivity, right? That conviction to market so that we continue to have amazing days. Happy June, right? I feel like it's not summer until June. So happy summer, happy official summer. Throw a 3 in the chat if you're excited for summer. I'm very excited for it, not because I have like a whole bunch of things planned other than the challenge, which I am super, super excited for. I also appreciate all the messages, right? You guys saying, hey, excited, like happy to have been executing, but like even more excited for learning more and what's coming up. That's the mindset, right? That's really the winning mindset. That's the winning formula, is to never be satisfied. And I think that that's different than not being grateful, right? You can be grateful for something and still not be satisfied. I think it's very, very important to recognize that no matter how far you go, there's always further that you can go, but also have gratitude for how far you've come, right? And those things can coexist. Gratitude does not have to lead to complacency. And I think that that's the thing that pumps me up the most. Seeing people talk about, okay, I'm already winning and I'm excited to win more, because that's the attitude that I have always. It's always learning, growing, pushing, moving, right? That's got to be the goal. So just, tailoring your skills, pushing yourself even further. That's what it's about. So like I said, excited for summer, excited for June, excited for the end of June. I think everybody here already is, but if you're not, make sure you're signed up at the Chart with Confidence Challenge. That's chartwithconfidence.com. Make sure you're there. That's all I could say. Because if you don't know me, every time I teach, I then use that moving forward, right? I reference that. So you want to make sure that you're in the room for those, because it's not going to get something that gets gone over again, right? In a Q&A or anything like that, right? When you're there for that, you're there for that, but that does not get reviewed at any other point. That's what that room is for. So just like you see me refer to things in the Facebook group, like yesterday when I called out that bounce zone for SPY that got us big paid on the bounce after we already got big paid from the drop, right? That doesn't get re-explained. So make sure you're in the room where things get explained initially. Otherwise, you'll end up that step behind, 2 steps behind, and that compounds over time. Because I never get complacent. I never stop learning, right? I'm always going, investing, right? Learning new things so that I can apply that in what I do. So it's, if you want to keep evolving, right, along with me, you got to make sure that you're taking those steps too in order to be there. Detree said, my birthday month, June 12th. Happy early birthday. We're 11 days out from your born day. Congratulations on that. No small feat. We live in a crazy world, so we got to take, make sure that we have gratitude for each and every day that we're alive, right? Each and every day we're above ground. But yes, good morning, everybody. First day of June, baby. Let's go. All right, let's dive into the news that we got going on here today. All right, Seeking Alpha Wall Street breakfast. And like I said yesterday, absolutely baller day. Like the crystal ball was hitting, the technical analysis was on point, and it's fine to have those days too where you were like, man, I was on top of it. There's days where you're like, okay, I'm not quite on the same beat as the market, the same rhythm. Yesterday, we were absolutely on it, right? There is no way that we could have been more on it yesterday than what we were. Shorting the Beast Apple at the top, just to flex, to be completely honest, right? Having, mentioning the same thing, Tesla with that bearish divergence. We had AMD, which is still dropping, literally still paying. We closed beneath hourly PT number 2 on AMD, so AMD could still go down. So AMD puts still paying, right? And it's about patience, guys, because everyone sees, what happens. For my people that aren't in on NVIDIA, right, aren't in on, AMD on the run up, and they're like, I need to get in. Like, I need to get in. I need to do this. What happened to all those people that FOMO'd in? They got screwed, right? They got screwed because what goes up must come down. The market does not go up indefinitely, right? So even when you feel those feelings of FOMO, you feel those feelings like, man, I messed up. Do not then compound that with another mistake, right? It's like you're growing up and your parents tell you don't lie because you have to tell another lie to cover up that lie. It's the same thing in markets where when you make a mistake, if you don't take a beat to gather yourself, you will just make another mistake. And then what happens? You quit for good, right? So whenever I make a mistake, I'm not immediately trying to go and do something else. I'm trying to take a beat, right? So at that point, I can, again, like we're doing double Dutch, figure out my point in which to jump in, right? But executed on spy puts yesterday, absolutely paid. Got in, got out at the perfect time, got into calls at the perfect time, held through the chop, right? The puts had some chop yesterday morning. We held through that with conviction, right? With confidence. How? Because the charts told us. We got in calls, right? Those calls had to hold through chop for that. Those paid big. How do we hold through those? Confidence because of the charts. You won't get to where you need to be. I promise you, if you do not get confident in charts, you're going to be getting one contract of something for the rest of your life, right? And even though that can make you good money, right? I think we all want to learn. We all want to scale. We all want to grow, right? In order to replace your monthly bills, you have to eventually, right, scale up in a sustainable way. You won't do that if you're never confident enough, right? You won't do that if you're always getting in late on trades or you're nervous or you're this or you're that, right? You have to get to the point where you see something and you do it, right? You act and you're confident in it. You've got to be like that in order to be a master of anything. You don't hire a plumber who says, yeah, I'm going to come in and tighten up this pipe and maybe it works, maybe not. If it doesn't work, I'm probably going to quit and not do this anymore. It's like, okay, like you don't really sound like somebody that should be in here for this job. We want to be confident in what we do and what we execute. And that's what leads to the big days. So if you're like, hey, I want to lead to the big days, right? The $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $40,000 days, right? You want to get there. That's what you need to do, right? Get confident in what the charts are showing you. So in terms of top news, what else are we talking about here other than AI? It's literally all the rage. Deep learning. So what goes up must come down unless you have diamond hands. Some cracks are beginning to appear in the recent AI stock rally with C3.ai, whose ticker is AI, plunging 22% after hours on Wednesday after giving a disappointing outlook during its FQ4 results. If you played C3.ai's earnings, you are a trading degenerate, right? And and there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is that everybody who missed on Nvidia is like, I need to get in on something that's related to AI. And we've talked about C3.ai before. We've talked about how they've been really an unfair beneficiary of the AI run because they're not doing anything that actually lends them to be getting this value added to their stock, right? They haven't been doing anything significant in the AI space for them to warrant the run up. It's literally just that their stock ticker is AI. And what's sad is that I know people lost playing their earnings because, again, I'm tapped in, around the internet of things. And, you just see people who, number one, they play, earnings on things. They hit once, and then what happens? They get absolutely hooked. So then they give all that back on the next 5, 10, 15 earnings plays. You know how many people said, hey, man, I turned, $1,000 into $20,000 on Nvidia. I'm going to go ahead and put $10,000 in C3.ai because AI stocks are booming. And then what happens? What was 1 to 20 is now back to 10, right? And then they're like, man, I just lost half my Nvidia gains. Don't worry. I got to try this so I can get it back up to 20. And then I'm going to withdraw it all. What happens? You lose 3, you lose 5. I was up 20K. Ain't no way I'm only going to take 5. I've seen it. I've lived it, right? The earnings bug is treacherous. So for all the people that are out there like, oh, I got to play this, I got to play that, anything related to AI, right? They're literally just high off the AI. This is what happens. You get that blind side to the face, and then it teaches you, okay, I've got to come back down to earth, right? I've got to gather myself because this is not sustainable. That's exactly what happened here with C3.ai. So on the earnings call, CEO Tom Seibel added the company wasn't inclined to change expectations surrounding its guidance compared to the major boost that Nvidia's stock received following its jaw-dropping guidance posted last week. And again, we got to see if that ends up actually happening for Nvidia. Like, I love Nvidia, big Nvidia guy, right? It's a stock that we've talked about a number of times over the course of the past few years, even in the first challenge that was done, right? Talking about semiconductors, but they basically said that they're going to get double the revenue that they were expecting. That's got to happen now, right? Because what is that now? That is the baseline. So what happens is if they fall short of that baseline, they're going to drop, right? So that's like, again, if I'm an NBA player and I score 20 points a game, 20 points a game, and I say, yo, next week I'm scoring 40 points minimum. What is everybody going to do? Vegas, they're going to set your line at 40 points, right? Everybody's going to expect 40 points. Your mama's going to expect 40 points. They're going to have a 40-point party for you. And if you score 39 points, what are people? Disappointed. That is significantly higher than what you normally score. But now the bar was set so high that it's easy for you to fall under it. So that's another thing to keep in mind here with NVIDIA. And that's no shade against them. It's just when you make bold statements, you've got to live up to those bold statements. So it's just like, yeah, it's awesome now, but you don't want to be short-sighted and be like, hey guys, is this possible? Like, can we reach this or not? I don't know if you guys have watched Succession on HBO, but award-winning show, and you kind of get an inside look into kind of the background behind like earnings call and stuff like that. And companies like can really stretch these numbers. And again, I know it's a fictitious show, but the same thing happens in real life. They're like, hey, what's something we could say in order to boost shareholders, right? In order to boost our stock value right now. Like, and then the actual accountants, right? And the people running the models are like, guys, I don't know if this works. And they're like, shut up, you're not the boss, right? Give me the models that I asked for. And then, I'll worry about the repercussions later. We live in a society where everyone always would rather ask for forgiveness than permission. And, that's how a lot of these companies also move during these bubble type, irrational, exuberant modes in markets. Now, in terms of a snapshot, other AI players and chip makers also pulled back yesterday. Cha-ching for us on AMD, following some impressive run-ups, but the latest movement might suggest that all companies are not equal when it comes to the AI supercycle. Investors have some deep learning to do after being consumed by everything AI this year, especially as they sort through the growing list of companies talking up how they've been AI plays all along. That's the funniest part for me. These companies come out, they're like, hey guys, I know you've known us for 20 years, but actually we're an artificial intelligence company. It's like, no, Tony, like you are Kentucky Fried Chicken. Like you make fried chicken. How is that an artificial intelligence company? Like that is stop, right? That's not in the cards for you. So let's see here, getting back to the real thing. So the real thing to consider is how much a firm will successfully capitalize and monetize its artificial intelligence offerings after the meme rallies settle down and huge price swings come to a halt. Quote, the euphoria is rooted in a very promising underlying technology, noted Robert Sheen of Blank Sheen Wealth Management. Even with the recent market euphoria driven by artificial intelligence, the market is sending a clear signal that artificial intelligence is here to stay, which it is for sure, as this technology has the potential to overhaul how companies do business, which has major implications for corporate earnings. Now, do your homework. As an example, the overwhelming majority of Wall Street experts believe that NVIDIA remains a clear buy. Seeking Alpha's quant rating system views NVIDIA with a little more skepticism, labeling the stock as a hold. Valuation represents the key headwind according to the system of grading quantitative measures. And then they've got a bunch of other Seeking Alpha analysts that are weighing in that we don't really need to go over right now. In terms of, let's see here. Terms of legislation, Fiscal Responsibility Act is our next headline. The U.S. House last night easily passed the debt ceiling relief deal as the Treasury heads toward a June 5th deadline, after which the government won't have ready funding to pay its bills. The measure now goes to a Senate, also working under a tight timetable and preparing for weekend votes. A number of senators have already expressed the wish to amend the bill, meaning it could return to the House for more approval. But the process is expected to get over the finish line in time. With much of the drama in the rearview mirror, investors have once again set their sights on central bank policymaking, with Fed officials like Patrick Harker and Philip Jefferson calling for a pause this month and assessing the need for future rate hikes thereafter. So, what else is new? We got legislation on the docket here. People trying to get stuff done before the deadline with this debt ceiling and all that good stuff. Moving on to media news here, publisher compensation. I don't think I need to talk anymore about the debt ceiling. I feel like we've been, kind of hammering that. Overall, just important anecdotal news to keep in mind is that, traditionally in the past when the debt ceiling gets resolved, markets drop. They don't actually pop. I know people think they pop, but traditionally thus far in terms of historical data, they have dropped. So that's just something to keep in mind, right, to know. So for anyone who missed that, right, I know that there are people who can't be here for this session because they're working, right? But, for those watching it back and you might be popping in, this is your first one. That's an important piece of information to know. In terms of media news, publisher compensation, Meta Platforms, ticker Meta, is threatening to pull news links from Facebook and Instagram in California if state lawmakers move forward with the California Journalism Preservation Act. The company responded in a similar fashion after a related proposal was tabled in Congress in December, as well as in Canada, and briefly blocked news links in Australia before brokering a deal with the government there. Among the amendments was a clause stipulating the digital platforms and news groups would be required to mediate for 2 months before subjecting them to mandatory arbitration. Canberra also agreed to take into account existing commercial agreements and give digital platforms a month's notice before reaching any final decision on the law's application. Will the same happen again? We'll see, right? Big tech right now is it's always at war with something. And it's just like we've got what is it? California right now stirring things up. I believe California was already at war with what, Walgreens, because I think Walgreens took like abortion pills off the racks, and California like declared war against them. So we've got a lot of like state versus private entity animosity between DeSantis and Disney, right? And now we've got Meta in California. That would be huge if Meta just pulls news links from Facebook and Instagram in California. Like, the majority of people get their news from social media, so I don't know where they would go to get their news, after that. And we'll see. I feel like this is kind of like the puffing up stage, right? This is really the positioning stage where everybody's trying to look really tough and things like that, because that would hurt Meta too. But I think that is pretty significant here that we've got this going on. And again, we're starting to see this trend of animosity between states and private companies, states and private entities. So yeah, I mean, at this point, we'll see kind of what happens, what goes on with Meta. And other big tech news, just kind of randomly, we also saw, I don't know if you guys noticed, end of day on Apple, but a huge selling candle on Apple yesterday, right before close. Where is my phone? Don't have that on me. Of course I don't. But huge selling candle yesterday on Apple. And I believe a large shareholder sold like billions of dollars worth of stock literally right yesterday at close. So again, we're getting these like weird shifty moves. And that's why too, it's so important, right? As we looked at Apple yesterday and we were kind of, kind of tracking it and saying, okay, Apple's continuously hitting this resistance on the hourly. We had all those long upper wicks where the sellers are just coming in. And, Apple just absolutely getting shellacked at the end of the day there. And it actually set a new low from where we had cashed out on our puts previously for almost 100% on Apple. So that was just kind of some news that came in. I can see I'll probably post that in the Facebook group. I feel like there already maybe somebody might have posted it. I know like Vivian is typically on this news stuff. So I don't know, Viv, you might have seen it. You probably have seen it. But yeah, that was one thing where I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was, like a single entity that sold a ton of Apple literally all at once, like just at the end of yesterday. So that kind of makes you go like, right? But overall, Apple definitely wanted to keep an eye on here this morning. For them, that level is going to be 176.76, right? So again, Apple on the hourly 176.76. If Apple gets a close beneath that, right, we can continue that selling on Apple, especially if we get beneath that 176.44. So overall, this 177, 176 area on Apple, we lose that. Apple can definitely take a load off. We've actually got a number of techs that are looking a little sketchy here pre-market. So it does not guarantee that we fall, that we fail. But Microsoft beneath 327.33, Microsoft puts are in order. It can be next week puts or lotto puts if you're very risky. But we've got bear flags across the board in tech right now. Of course, if we hold, that previous hourly support, they can turn into double bottoms. So right now we've got Microsoft on watch for double bottom / bear flag, right? We've got AMD on watch for double bottom / bear flag. So, AMD, if that closes over 119.55, right, that pre-market middle of the potential W, Then AMD fires an hourly double bottom, and calls are on the docket, right? But overall, we've got this kind of spot where we've had tech selling off, we've shown some weakness, and if we end up holding these previous hourly lows, that can start translating into some strength, right? But overall, everybody who went ahead and FOMOed into your AMD and your Nvidia and all that at the top, they've gotten absolutely cooked these past 2 days. So another just warning, everyone, make sure that you're not FOMOing into things and kind of making hasty moves. Just wait for your opportunity, right? Your opportunity will come, your time will come. Just got to make sure you're patient about it. Now let's go ahead and see here, and even checking out Nvidia, I like them above 385.40 here. So there's a number of different things, right? And we'll obviously get deeper into it as we get into the group, right? Get into the Facebook group, but 385.40 on Nvidia, right? A number of levels to pay attention to. That is if we get above. Let's see here. That's if we get above that. That would be on the hourly, but of course we set our alerts on the 5 minute. But same thing, right? Nvidia technically bear flagging, right? But if we get above that, then we can start to push. So it's important, as always, to make sure that you're outlining both the bullish and bearish possibilities for markets, right? Make sure that you have all of that outlined, all of that very clearly delineated, so that regardless of what you get, you're able to pivot, right? You're able to move, you're able to execute, and do so with confidence, to do so with conviction. Throw a 7 in the chat if you want to move in markets with confidence, right? If you want to move in markets with confidence, it takes developing that confidence in order to do it, right? When we talk about LeBron James shooting a basketball, when we talk about Derek Jeter swinging a baseball bat, right? Doing anything, how do they develop confidence in what they do? Reps, literally getting in reps, getting in experience. So we talk about the challenges coming at the end of June, right? What will we be doing for 3 straight days? Getting in coordinated reps, right? It's not you sitting there seeing my charts and then saying, oh, I'm going to try and throw my charts on top of Adam charts, and I don't know if they're right or if they're wrong, but technically I'm getting the experience. No, right? This is literally reps where we are going in, charting live, going over how to do it continuously for 3 days. You cannot beat that type of incubator program when you talk about gaining confidence. So if you struggle with confidence, that is where you need to be. I cannot reiterate it enough, because yesterday, if you didn't move with confidence, you did not make a ton of money, right? When you could have made a ton of money. That's how it goes. If you move with confidence, you make big bank. If you don't move with confidence, you make little bank, little bank, little bank. You get frustrated. You make a big bet that you shouldn't have made, right? Because you can't gauge which ones to go big on because you're not confident enough with your charting, right? So you just get frustrated. Then you make a big bet, and that's not the right time to make a big bet. So lacking confidence, lacking experience, you end up quitting. I've seen it every single time. You end up quitting because you can't get on the right record, on the right tone with markets. You get small win, sit out, small win, sit out, sit out. You try and go big, lose big. And now suddenly all those weeks where you were timid now feel wasted because you went big and it was not the time to go big. So learn when the time is to go big. Learn how you can have conviction and put bigger money into your trades, bring home bigger paydays. All that happens by putting the reps in. LeBron didn't just come into the gym one day and was like, screw it, I'm just going to be the best player ever. No, he had to put up thousands of shots, right? So this is our version of putting up thousands of shots. That is how it goes, right? Going in there and saying, all right, let's chart this. Boom. Chart. Okay, this is right. This is wrong. Use this endpoint. Use that. This is how we're going to use this strategy. This is how we would live trade that. This is exactly where I'd be taking profit. This is where I'd be scaling out. That is what you need in order to succeed, right? Getting the reps in. I cannot stress it enough. If I do something, it's for a reason. I don't do something without important timing and without a reason behind it, right? It's meaningful movement all the time. So in terms of economic news here, diving back in because we took that detour talking about Apple and looking at all the different stocks. But in terms of economic news here, doom and gloom update. While attention has been centered on the remote but disastrous possibility of the U.S. defaulting on its debt, investors may want to focus more on corporate bonds. Preparation is underway for a wave of defaults in the high-yield credit markets as the boom and bust cycle returns in 2023. Deutsche Bank issued its 25th annual default report and sees the default rate on U.S. junk debt spiking to a peak of 9% of issuance by the end of 2024 versus 1.3% in 2022. Wow. So they predict the peak of 9% versus 1.3% last year. Sheesh, within 2 years. See how that compares to other cycle highs and the like the dot-com crash and the great financial crisis. So new doom and gloom update. Again, it all is based off of what the charts say. So we look at what the charts say, what the charts lead us to believe is probable, and we make our moves based off of that. So, there's people that are going to say the world is burning. Is there, opportunity still for the world to burn? Yes. Like I said, we're still, until we get over 430 on SPY, right? We still have the possibility for us to drop significantly, right? We could still be within a monthly bear flag. So, all this stuff where we have consumer debt that I believe, Vivian, you sent me a message about that earlier. Auto loan delinquencies for young Americans. Yeah, so we've got, consumer debt going up. We've got, all these different things happening. But at the end of the day, we got to see that manifest on the charts in order to make a move. If you're sitting here waiting for things to drop, right? And you're not taking advantage of things going up, then you miss the boat, right? You miss the boat, you miss out the bag. So you really can't say, again, it's a really Western idea that like to be dichotomous like we are. Like you're either Democrat or you're a Republican or you're, pro life or you're pro choice or you're everywhere else in the world. It's a mix of gray, right? In the East, there is no either or, right? It's and. It can be this and this, right? I am this and I am this. In the West, it's are you a day trader or are you a value investor, right? Are you an investor or are you a trader? Do you do Forex or do you do options or do you do futures? It's like I can't trade and invest. Like I can't, have values of both parties, right? I can't be one part. Like nothing says that except for the news, right? Except for society. So I think it's very important, are you a bear or a bull? I'm whatever gets me paid, right? I'm a kangaroo. I go up and down with the market. We don't need to take sides. Taking sides is a weird American thing that I didn't learn until I got older. And I saw that all the rest of the world, right? You travel, you meet other people. You're like, all the rest of the world sees things in gray, but only in the US do we see things in black and white, where it's like either you're this or you're that. Like nowhere else in the world is like that, right? You know, so it's just I don't know, but that's important to recognize, right? You don't have to be because if you're a perma bear, you miss out on the bull money. If you're a perma bull, you miss out on the bear money, which was all 2022, right? So just be both. You can be both. You don't have to take sides. It's a weird thing. And then when the market starts running, everybody goes, "Yeah, the market's running. Screw the bears. They're always wrong." Who cares, man? You made money, right? Same thing with the Bears. The market's tanking. Oh, screw the Bulls. These perma Bulls, they're idiots. Like they're this, they're that. Take your money, man, and be happy. Go hug your wife, right? Hug your kids, touch grass, and live your life. But we can't be in this, competition against others. It's always got to be me versus me. And it's the same thing when you see others winning. It's not about, oh, this person won this much, or this person did this person did that. What is your race? Did you make more money today than you did yesterday? You won. That's all you need to know. Because there's always someone, even if you are Jeff Bezos, there comes Elon Musk coming up the rear when Tesla develops their first, I don't know, freaking flying car, right? And now suddenly, oh no, this guy made more money than me. I'm a failure. You're one of the richest people in the world, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't look at what somebody else is doing. Look at what you were doing. Because you'll never get to what they're doing if you're watching them. The reason why they're rocketing forward is because they're not paying attention to everything else. You run fastest looking straight, right? That's what my track coach would always tell me. Don't look behind. Don't pay attention to anyone else. You run fastest looking straight. So make sure that you are looking straight in everything that you do. Do what you need to do in order to get where you need to be. This person didn't have to do it, so why do I have to do it? Who cares, right? Who cares? I had a friend that was much better than me in math than I was. I needed a tutor. I needed this. I needed that. I was still in like honors math classes, but I struggled. I'm much more right brain, right? Biology, history, all that stuff. And if it's something to memorize, I can do it like that. I'm a very visual learner. There's pictures on the page. I can memorize the whole page, right? When it came to math, it just did not click as much. I did not look and say, oh, I'm not going to get a tutor because my friend doesn't need a tutor. It's like, why am I going to invest in myself? He didn't have to do that in order to do it. You're not them, right? You're not them. They're not you. Do what you need to do in order to get where you need to go instead of saying, oh, if this person didn't have to do it, they are not you, my friend. They are not you in any way, shape, or form. So your biggest superpower is realizing who am I? What do I need? And tending to it. Because the worst thing that people do is starve themselves spiritually and they starve themselves in terms of their legacy because they sit there thinking I should be able to do something how someone else did it. And that is not you. You won't feel fulfilled the same way. You won't get, you won't get happy the same way. So it's just Run your race, blinders on, and do what you need to do in order to succeed, and stop worrying about what everybody else did or how they're telling you should do it, right? Know yourself. I move slowly in the morning. If I got to get somewhere, I'm up an hour before I need to be there. Got to do it, right? You got to do it. People say, oh, we don't have to leave until this time. Why are you up? You don't have to wait to go back to sleep. No, I know how I am, right? I know how I work. I need to eat 3 square meals a day. I need to take my time. I move slow. Knowing yourself, self-knowledge, right? Self-awareness, huge in the game of trading and in life. Now, in terms of today's markets, everything looks like changed since this data has come out, really. Are we up on SPY? We might be marginally. Yeah, it looks like marginally up. So maybe I'll go ahead and read these. In today's market, in Asia, Japan, we're up 0.8%. Hong Kong, we're down 0.1%. China, we're flat. India, down 0.3%. London, we're up 0.5%. Paris, up 0.8%. Frankfurt, up 0.1%. Dow, up 0.1%. S&P, up 0.2%. NASDAQ, up 0.1%. All of them are basically flat right now. Crude, down 0.2%. Gold, down 0.4%. Bitcoin, at down 0.7%, down underneath 27,000. Now, we got initial jobless claims and the ADP jobs report this morning. At 10 a.m., we get ISM manufacturing index. So we have a few things, right, coming in this morning where we have stuff pre-market, and then we also have some stuff during market. Again, ISM manufacturing, that's going to be one of those things that can just cause one of those 1 minute, 2 minute pops, right? So just be aware of that at 10 a.m. We can get that. Yesterday, right, that news kind of served as like the catalyst to finally drop us lower. So, just be aware of the news. And that way, right? I wasn't scared when I saw the market chopping. I was holding puts because, hey, number one, I know the data is coming up. And I know that if they want to do something, a lot of times they'll do it under the guise of a news drop. So I'm just going to be patient. We should see movement around when that data drops. And then when the data drops, we saw the movement. We got paid, right? Get the knowledge that you need to be confident. Otherwise, you'll struggle, right? You'll see the chop. You'll see the money getting eaten away. You're like, oh, I don't know. You close it, and then it runs. So let's see here. To the BlackRock, Think shares, your extend losses. Where is this data? Yesterday. Is this all old? Oh, we got our guy Walters slacking on us right now with the jobs numbers. Let me see if I can find them in another spot. I hate when they just don't have the data right there. Super, super annoying. In terms of when it dropped, let's see. When did that data come out? 8:30. What time is it here? So it looks like when that data dropped at 8:30 initially, we sold lower. To be honest, I really want to get in and start making those Loom videos and breaking it down. So if you guys can, if you guys have a second, if you could find that data, locate that data, the jobless numbers for today, awesome. But I'm kind of trying to finish this up so that we can have plenty of time for us to get the game plan. And I'm sure you guys are all on board with that as well. So in terms of that data, we'll find out about it, but I want to give us plenty of time to go over what our actual trades will look like here for this morning. In terms of what else is happening, our rapid fire bullet point rundown, we'll go through this quick. So has greedflation caused corporate profits to increase? Job openings unexpectedly rise in April. Quits rate ticks down. So it's job openings rose in April. ExxonMobil, ticker XOM. Chevron, ticker CVX. Shareholders reject climate proposals. And then U.S. crude oil slumps to 10-week low, down 11% from May. Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, gets a nod from the FDA. So Pfizer might see a little pump because of that. Retail watch, Nordstrom, whose ticker is JWN, gains on unexpected Q1 profit. Salesforce sinks after earnings. So does CrowdStrike. Amazon settles kids' privacy case in Ring spy claims. Wow, that's weird. I did not know that there was, people had claimed that there was spying going on with Ring cams. Lucid to receive $3 billion from new investors, including Saudi Arabia. Then Ford CEO says EV price parity is unlikely after 2030. So let's see here. That will pretty much wrap us up and take us out in terms of the data that we have going on here this morning and the important stuff to pay attention to. It's 9:17. So I want to give, myself as well as you guys plenty of time to watch this Loom video as we prepare to kill another day in markets, right? We literally went, 5 for 5 yesterday in markets, 5 for 5, multiple 100% plays. Those are the days where your bills get paid. Those are the days where your bills get paid, your rent gets paid, your electric gets paid, all that stuff gets paid. And then you can chill, right? You can chill, but being ready, being confident, being able to execute, That's the goal. That's what you got to make sure you're pushing toward each and every day. So shout out to you guys for tuning in, investing in yourselves. You definitely got 1% better. Congratulations on that. I wish everybody the best of luck out there in markets. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So make sure you continue to prepare because there's opportunities each and every day, right? So have a great rest of your day, everybody. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Peace.